Thank you so much for staying with us on this program. The NARD strike is in day 20, and it's as disturbing as it comes. But then, anyway, let's have conversations this morning with Dr. Mohammed Adamu, who is the president of the National Association of Resident Doctors. Thank you for joining us this morning, doctor. Now, the federal government says...
Thank you for having me this morning.
Yes.
Sorry, it's Dr. Muhammad Usman Suleiman.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Mohammed Usman Suleiman, thank you so much for joining. Now, the federal government says that you should suspend the strike, the ongoing strike, because 19 out of your 21 demands have been addressed. But you insist that until all are addressed, there is no going back. Please speak to us about that.
Thank you for having me this morning. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, you are right, is on strike, and it's total, comprehensive, and indefinite, and it is on day 20. We have 19 demands, not 21 demands, 19. And of these 19 demands, we have sat down with the team from the federal government in a conciliation. We have had 3 conciliation meetings, and in these conciliations, we have agreed on timelines. Now, mind you, all the 19 items, no one has faulted their genuineness. No one has also faulted the need to resolve all of them. Now, of all the 19 demands, there's nothing that is new being brought to the table as a fresh, new thing. These are things that have lingered for years, and previous agreements on these matters have been flouted by the federal government. Now, we came to this table now. Let me just take a few issues and explain to you what is happening. We discussed the promotion areas for medical officers. These are doctors that work for the federal government that have been promoted way back from 2019, 18, 2020, 21 till date. No promotion areas. We agreed that these promotion areas are going to be calculated. They are going to be compiled as at Friday last week and forwarded to the Minister of Finance, who in one of the conciliation promised us, I can't pay immediately, but I can create a payment plan. And we gave that concession. Once Chief Wale gives you a payment plan, I mean, you should go home and relax. That was what we thought. That was agreed to happen as at Friday. Today is Thursday. That compilation has not been sent. We don't even know if it has been completed. Not talk of being sent to the Ministry of Finance for their own input for us to complete that. Take, for instance, the issue of the salary areas. There are doctors who have between 3 months to 20 months salary areas. These are not allowances, these are salary areas. Between 3 months to 20 months, different institutions, 5, 6, 7 institutions. We also agreed that this compilation will be completed on Friday, which has been done. We have verified that. But that has not been forwarded to the Ministry of Finance and the Budget Office for them to work on the second part of the agreement as told to us by Chief Wale, who was very willing to give us a payment plan. That has not been done. If you take, for instance, the professional allowance table, this is an injustice of about 7 years. We agreed with the federal government since 2014 last. When you review the basic salary, you review the allowances. As I'm talking to you now, doctors only get about 45 to maybe 50 or 60% of their allowances as at the last salary that was paid. Now, everybody agreed. The calculations have been done. The tables have been put up. Release them, implement them, then you begin to hear a lot of stories. Eventually, during the conciliation, we agreed as a Thursday that after a few days, it was going to be released. In fact, we were so excited, we went ahead to even call a National Executive Council meeting in view of the release of some of these tables and some of these agreements, only to come to sign the agreement, the MOU on Friday, that will capture all of this. And we're told, no, it can only come after another 2 weeks. So what is the plan? You sign the MOU, you go and suspend your strike, and then in 2 weeks, you begin to collect another story. In fact, the decision to shift it didn't happen during the conciliation. It was at the point of signing the MOU that, no, you can't put a few days, or you have to put at least 2 weeks before it can come. You know, if you look at the entry level for doctors, that has been downgraded from Commerce 3 down to Commerce 2. This is a whole 150,000 naira difference in salaries. We agreed that a letter was going to be transmitted to the head of service to clarify the issue, because there's already a head of service circular way back to 2014 permitting these adjustments in the entry level, allowing it. So it's legal. It is not illegal. Someone just woke up and decided to step it down. Now, that letter, we were told it was written to the head of service. We just found out that the head of service is not even aware that that issue is on the table for it to clarify. This was agreed to be sorted out as at Friday last week. This is a whole 6 days after, and that clarification has not been done. There's the matter for upgrading doctors. If you're a doctor and you're a resident, you do a 3-year posting and then you write an exam. If you pass, you're upgraded from COMMES 3 to COMMES 4. 1 year later, you're upgraded from COMMES 4 to COMMES 5. We agreed a letter will be written as a Tuesday last week. A letter will be written to the Accountant General and directed to IPPIS so that an officer will sit down and do these upgrades. There are people over a year, 2 upgrades have not been done. The arrears are still counting. They've not been sorted out. Now, just to find out, as I'm talking to you this morning, that letter has not been written to the Accountant General. And this was supposed to be sorted out as a Tuesday, Wednesday last week in the MOU that was to be signed on Friday. So if we had even signed the MOU, assuming we had signed the MOU, we would have been off strike now.
All right.
And the issues would have still been lingering.
All right,
so
Doctor.
I can go on and on and on all the individual issues to clarify this position to you that we have agreed to do X, Y, Z.
Doctor,
and the timeline has elapsed. And they just want us to sign an MOU just for the sake of calling off a strike, not for the interest of sorting out the issues.
So for you, for the want of time, there are people that I think naturally we shouldn't ever allow to go on strike. People like you, doctors. This is total, this is indefinite, and you constitute the greater majority of the doctors when it comes to our public hospitals around the country. So this is a national crisis, to say the least. That's just being mild about it. What has to happen in the immediate that in 24, 72 hours, if you see this action from government, this strike at least will be called off, even if temporarily?
The NEC was very clear about that after Monday. Reinstate the Lokoja 5. Release the professional allowance table for implementation. Give us a timeline. In fact, pay the promotion arrears. Pay the salary arrears. Ensure that whatever we agree in that MOU is implemented. Pay the specialist allowance to COMMES 5. The membership certificate issue should be put to rest. These are simple issues. These are issues that one letter will solve. These are issues that one release will solve, one circular will solve. The NEC also made it very clear that those items on the MOU, what was agreed on the table for the conciliation, let it be reflected as such on the MOU. Then NARD can sign that MOU, and then we can find a way to have meetings to discuss suspending or calling off the strike. It's as easy as that. It's as straightforward as that. And I'm not missing word. And permit me to say, no one from the table of government or from the side of government will tell you that these are not what were discussed on these issues. And the actions have not been taken up till now. I mean, we've been talking about this as a country for the last 1 week. It is the responsibility of government to secure lives and properties. Now, making it seem as if it is the duty of doctors to save those lives. I mean, we're just being less than honest. I think it's important that we understand that for these issues to be sorted out, government needs to be serious. Permit me to emphasize one issue. We've talked about excess workload to doctors. Have Nigerians ever wondered what that looks like? So for a typical doctor, you come to work 8 in the morning. You work your normal civil service hours 8 to 4. And if you're on call that day, you take a call from 4 to 8 the next morning. You continue your civil service job from 8 to 4 the next day. If you're on call that day again, you continue 4 to 8. You continue like that. Now, I have doctors, Suleiman, my own treasurer.
My sincere apologies if you can hear me.
As the only senior
Dr. Suleiman, 1 second if you can hear me. What you are describing is exactly what we talked about earlier when we talked about the welfare of soldiers themselves. It seems like every profession in the country is going through the same thing. We can only hope that some of your colleagues, because I want to believe that there are medical doctors in the civil service as well, and they know all of the pains, and they will do the most that they can to resolve the issues. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and we sincerely wish you all the best. Dr. Mohammed Suleiman is the president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was quite important we mainstream that issue. In fact, we're going to have a broader conversation with them and maybe representative of government as far as this issue is concerned. Doctors should not ever, military, police, doctors, those people,
essential services.
Whatever we have to do, even if we have to empty part of our treasury to make them stay at work, then we sort ourselves out. That's how essential they are.
But that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and your company. I'm Jeffrey. Sunrise Daily is up at the top of the hour.
Yes, the studio is already agog. Amaya Makinde. Enjoy the rest of your day.